Hi everyone, Trex again. What we learned from BlizzCon so far that even before the Battle of Azeroth is coming into play, before it's even finished, we will see a change into level scaling. So the question is, how is level scaling going to influence transmog farming? It's going to be implemented in 7.3.5, so it's just around the corner, but instead of explaining everything, I want to give you the general idea. I'm going to let Eon explain it himself. For those who didn't have a virtual ticket, I think I can show this footage because it's a discussion. If it does get banned or taken down, it means I need to remake the video, so let's hope it doesn't.
So now, I just mentioned that we are inviting players to journey through Azeroth once again, to start off with these allied races at level 20 and explore. Now, if you've done something like that recently, you've probably noticed the experience is kind of rough around the edges. Now, the content, the world, the stories, those hold up. Those are great. There's humor, there's life there. But the pacing of the experience is all off. If you're trying to play through, let's say, Hillsbrad, you'll quickly find that about halfway through the zone, a lot of the quests in your log are turning green or even gray. On the one hand, all the mechanics of the game are telling you to get out of there, to move along for better rewards, more experience, a place where you belong, while the story is telling you to stay because you want to see what happens next. We want to solve that. Now, in Legion, during the level up experience, we introduced the concept of scaling zones, and that allowed players to pick and choose their way through that experience. So, you have it figured out. I don't even need to give this presentation. But no, you can see where this is going. So we are looking to take that tech and expand it to the entirety of World of Warcraft. Yeah, we are super excited about this too. There'll be a couple of little differences in how it plays out here versus how it did in Legion. So first off, we don't want Westfall to scale all the way up to, let's say, level 110. So within these regions, there are level ranges with minimums and maximum levels for two reasons. If you are a brand new undead, you're a Forsaken starting off in Tirisfal Glades, we think it's important that when you look eastward towards the Plaguelands, there's a little bit of terror there. That's a scary, dangerous place. You're not strong enough to go there. And if you try, Welcome Bear will come out and hug you, and then you'll be back at your graveyard. And that's how it works. On the other hand, if you're a seasoned adventurer returning from a campaign in Northrend, and you come back to Elwyn Forest and find that the wolves and the bandits there are now still an even match for you, that kind of undermines your progression. So we're thinking about a structure more like, imagine Westfall scales from 10 to 60, imagine Burning Steppe scales from 40 to 60. You're never going to outlevel the zone while you're in it, but there's still some sense of progression, and once you've moved past the entire expansion, you do feel like you have surpassed it and you are more powerful. Now, speaking of expansions, we'd also like to take a step back from just zone choice and think about how you navigate expansions in the course of leveling up. So if you've leveled alts recently, you know the drill. You hit 58, you go to Hellfire Peninsula, you maybe do a zone and a half or so, depending on how many dungeons you're doing. Then it's off to Northrend. Well, what if you could choose? What if Burning Crusade content scaled all the way from 60 to 80? It's pretty self-explanatory. BC 60 to 80, Wrath 60 to 80. Similarly, Kata 80 to 90, Mists 80 to 90. You can pick one expansion, do most of its content if you want. You can bounce back and forth between the two. It's flexible. The point is player choice. The point is having the experience that you want to have as you're leveling through WoW. And yes, this applies to dungeons. It applies to all the rewards along the way. So yeah, it's awesome to hear the excitement. We are every bit as excited about this. And because it's something that really it's not really an expansion feature, it's just a basic improvement to the game, we want to get this in your hands sooner. So, You may have noticed the patch that just went live was 7.3.2. That was a small infrastructure thing. We have a proper 7.3.5 around the corner. It'll be coming to PTR in just a few weeks, and you will be able to see the beginnings of many of these improvements there. We can't wait to hear your feedback. We want to get this in your hands ASAP.
So everything will scale. Quest XP, enemies, gold, dungeons, all of it from 0 to 60, 60 to 80, and 80 to 90. You should be able to do what happened in the South Park's Make Love Not Warcraft episode, where Cartman and his friends went to Westfall, killed boars to level up. The main problem that many people have issues with was stated by Reckles from Want to Buy Gold in the live Q&A session, so let's take a look at that.
Hi there, my name is Reckles with Want to Buy Gold, and I have a question about gold making. So I'm really nervous about item scaling, and I'll try to do an example so I'm clear. If I'm trying to farm like a level 63 shoulder, I need to go out and kill a level 63 enemy in Outlands. If I can get it from a 64, but the drop rate cuts in half. Well, now y'all are saying that these zones are going to go all the way to 80. How is the loot drop rate system changing? What are y'all doing? How is it going to affect us going forward?
And now let's take a look and listen to the explanation of the panel.
He's a transmog collector for sure.
Yeah, he's a gold collector.
I just sell them.
Yeah, so we talk about classic and how hard it is to go back to that. Like scaling zones is kind of going back through 12 years of history and trying to figure out how all of this works in that system. Specifically with this, our philosophy is basically if the thing dropped it before, it's going to keep dropping it. So things that, like gold will scale. It makes sense for gold to scale. If I'm doing a zone at 60, I should get the same amount of gold out of it. But if it's dropped, let's say it drops silk, it should still drop silk when we do our changes. That may not be 100% true based off of just some weird things that we might run into, but that's our philosophy that we're going with.
All right. Next question.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got an answer, but also we didn't receive a real answer. So he took the example of silk, and silk is a crafting region. Gold will scale on the mobs because, well, you're higher level. In other zones you will get more gold from killing an enemy, so you will receive equal amount of gold that dependent on your level range. Now, they didn't talk about item levels and gear, but I saw in another video that they're going to boost up stats and item levels of the items you will receive by quest rewards and loot to be competitive with the heirloom system. So the heirloom system is only the XP bonus as a result. So you would be equally powerful as players with heirlooms, or they're going to tone down the heirlooms stats and item levels. So what will happen, we don't know, because, well, they're not 100% sure about how this will result into the actual gameplay. Are you going to receive the same item? Let's say you go to Scarlet Monastery and you kill a bunch of mobs and you get item level, what is it, 32 to 42? Well, if you go in as a level 60 character and you're clearing a dungeon, of course, in normal conditions, you will receive item level 58 to 62 then. And your quest rewards will be equally the same, and if you kill a boss you get item level 65 to 70. Something like that. Now we have a few options in this. So the first option is that the item levels will scale like you do level scaling. So you are going in a dungeon at a higher level and you receive the same item level that your level is bound to. Option number 2 is that everything remains the same. All loot tables will remain the same. Only the soul-bound items will change and your quest rewards will change, but I don't think that will be very likely. Now, what could be a possible result or something that Blizzard would do to make sure we don't lose these items? Because if you do the item scaling and you get gear from a certain loot table, well, you don't find these items anymore, and a lot of people collect them even for their own transmog, so Blizzard can't afford to let people down in that way. They could link the appearance to the item level, so they're going to change all the loot that is in the database, which will be very unlikely because, well, we're talking about a X amount of pieces of armor, so they're not going to change every armor as is. They could do it with an automated system. Basically, they don't want to lose the appearances, because otherwise, well, a lot of people will be very disappointed. They still want to have the appearance of certain items. What will happen in that case is that a lot of items will increase in value and a lot of items will decrease in value, because like you see in Nomragan, you have a few twink items there that if you are able to loot them, they even go for more than 1 million gold, because it's a very popular twink item. It's not all about the look, it's also about the item level, so we're going to lose the chance of getting that item. So what will be a result if it does occur like that, that you can only loot these items on level range, let's say 38 to 42 for a few items, and that you're going to see a lot of groups pop up, like the ones from the Silitus farm, where you make a Dead Knight, go to Silitus, well, make a Dead Knight, go through the starting zone, fix your XP so you don't level up anymore, then go to Silitus in a 5-man group, a 3 to 5-man group, and go and collect all of the Transmog items by farming there with a fixed XP. We could possibly see that coming into play also for different level ranges, but then the items have to be worth a lot more, so it will be worth it to divide the loot to X amount of people, and they still need to be bought as well. So we can't really state anything until we are sure. The positive thing is that it's just around the corner, so we will be able to test it really fast, and if it's not beneficial for us, well, we can come up with different kind of ways to make gold, or, well, try to get these items anyway. So if you got heirloom items and you are overpowered, you will be able to clear a bunch of these dungeons, solo it on those level ranges. It's only going to take you longer to clear these dungeons, so in the end, the community always comes up with ways to curve around the rules or find ways to manipulate the system in order to achieve a certain goal. And if nothing remains the same and the loot tables do change and we will lose a lot of these transmog items, if you still have a few of those items that are worth, like, let's say more than 30,000 gold on region market value, I would just suggest hold on to them, keep them. It's only a few weeks. If you're not in a lot of gold trouble, well, not a lot of gold trouble, then you don't do transmog farms because they sell really slow. So keep a hold on these items and see what the price will do in a couple of weeks. It could be that as soon as 7.3.5 comes out, a lot of these values spike, and it could be they remain high, or we come up with a way to, like I said, go around the edges, manipulate the system so we do get a hold of these items. So that's a bit of the things that I have in mind of what can happen, what can possibly happen. At this point, it's more of a speculation thing. We will never be sure until it goes live. We didn't get a lot of answers from the panels. There's not anything conclusive. They're not 100% sure themselves, so we have to wait it out. And those who went to the community tab and selected transmog farms, well, could be a chance for it to not happen. Yeah, it could be obsolete. If I do a transmog farming video in the next couple of days, it could end up being obsolete, since the whole system is going to change and you will have a chance for never seeing that item ever again. So, or we have to change the way we do transmog farming. So we have to wait it out. Don't stress over it. There's a million, trillion, zillion ways to make gold in this game. So don't worry about it. We will find a solution anyway. We will fix it. We will do something else if we have to. I hope the loot tables will stay the same, because there's nothing sweeter than farming a rare item and eventually getting diluted and then sell it or use it for yourself. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time, and happy gold hunting, or transmog farming in this case.